Hello and welcome to Otterwood Cottage, where we're building a brand new small holding in the heart of the Lincolnshire countryside. I'm Emma and this is Otter, and we're delighted to have you along with us. Today we're in the fruit cage and I've come up to have a really good check on what survived and what hasn't, what's looking like it's showing promise and what we just need to give up on. As you know, we had a bit of trouble in here with some rabbits getting in, and although we replaced the trees that they'd girdled, we made the decision not to replace the berries on the basis that they may come back, they may fight back, and if not, then we'll just replace another time, another year. I did though get a red currant and a gooseberry in the garden centre accidentally this week, along with some strawberries to replace. The strawberries actually went in after we'd got the netting on in here, and yet they still seem to have been, or some of them still seem to have either been chomped by something or they've not survived some of the cold weather, but strawberries should be fine in the cold weather, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there. So anyway, I've got some more strawberries to go in, the 2 berries to go in, but first I'm going to take a quick look round and see how things are faring, and I'm going to bring you along with me. So I'm going to start off with the new trees. Now these should be okay because these all went in after, and in fact look, we've got some budding happening on this beautiful tree, which I think is a peach. Yes, the peach peregrine. We do have a little bit of ingress from grass there, which I'm going to need to dig up. I brought the trowel up with me to sort that out. More budding on this tree, which is our cherry merchant, looking beautiful. And then over to the second cherry, which is the Regina, and again lots of promising signs of life. And our third cherry, also looking fantastic and budding up, and that one is the Cordia cherry. So over to this tree, which from a distance doesn't look like it's doing brilliantly, but actually it's a Saturn peach, and look, I thought it had died, but there is a little bud there, pretty pink colour, so that's, oh, and another couple down here, so it is coming along. And then the final tree in here, again from a distance doesn't look like it's doing anything, but actually there are some little buds on it, and that's the Victoria plum, which is, if I can get it to focus, let's see if we can focus, there we go. So we do have some life, so all of the trees are looking well, hurrah. A less happy story are these poor raspberries, which, as I had suspected, because they'd been pretty well chomped, if you look here, by the rabbits, have not made it. Certainly at this end. Can we see any sign of life anywhere? Ah, oh, look, maybe 1 or 2 have managed to pull through. A tiny little bit on here, looking like it might work. So these middle 4 perhaps have survived the chomping better, but these ones on the end, I fear, may not have made it. So Otter, won't help if the puppy chews them. No chewing on the raspberries, pup. Otter, come away, good boy. So moving on into the berries, which were the ones that we just kind of allowed to take their chances, and the first one, which is our josterberry, has done fantastically well. That's doing brilliantly. So onto the blueberries, which I really thought hadn't made it, but actually this one's lost its label, so I can't remember which one it is, but I think we might just be seeing some tiny signs of life. Originally all I could see was this, which looked very dead, but this is looking promising. Let's keep a watching brief on that one. We've got three blueberries. I think that one behind me must have been the pink blueberry. This is the blue crop blueberry, which is definitely living, and this one here is the blueberry duke, which is looking less hopeful, bless. although there is a tiny bit of green left. But I think, I don't know, maybe, what do you think? Is that a tiny little bit of budding there? And our final berry, which you probably can't even see among the wood chip that is here, is the chokeberry. And again, although it looked really dead, there is the tiniest of buds. So maybe, against all the odds, all of the berries have survived. And then the strawberries look, which are definitely being chomped by something. I don't know what's getting in here to eat them. We did have in our last, at the allotment, we used to have quite a lot of wood louse damage on the strawberries. And then there's a patch here where there is just nothing. So whatever has been eating them, this was a strawberry, and it's just eaten it to the ground. And this one here too, look, completely gone. So these ones in the middle obviously are the most tasty, or potentially the most susceptible to frost and just didn't make it through a frost. And then these 5 at this end are looking slightly healthier. So I'm going to get some more in and see how they get on. And look, weedy patch to get out. Must do that today too. And the final plant in here is our thornless loganberry, which again is coming on slow, but it is there. So hurrah! So I think what I'm going to do is find a space for the 2 new berries, the gooseberry and the red currant. There's plenty of space in here for them, even if the blueberries and the josterberry do make it. And I've got some ericaceous feed for the blueberries, which is going to go on today as well. And then finally, I'm going to get those new strawberries planted. Off we go. To get into the corner you're in to weed, so I thought I'd just stop you there and give you a quick update. So the new strawberries are in and looking lovely along there, and the red currant and the gooseberry are in and looking good. I've largely weeded this one edge with the exception of the corner you were in, and most of the middle. Although watching the footage back of the time lapse, you realise how inefficient, or I realise how inefficient my movement is around the space for weeding. The thing is, once you start weeding, you get your eye in for it, and then you start spotting it everywhere you're going. And there's always more than you think. I think what I will be able to do in here though is most of the weeds, with the exception of the pernicious stuff, the difficult stuff, is the grass, and it's particularly difficult along the edges where you can see it's growing against the net. And we always seem to have that problem, and I thought we were really doubly careful about making sure the cardboard went all the way under and out to the edge so that we didn't have this issue, because we've had it before with brassica cages and things, and it's just such a pain. So we are going to have to try and come up with a more permanent solution than just pulling this grass out, because it will just keep coming back. So apart from the grass, which is a pain, the majority of weeds that I've been seeing have just been surface things that have blown in since we've laid this wood chip and compost. And so I think what I'll be able to do in future is just, like this one, is just come in with a hoe and hoe those off. If we do that frequently enough, that'll keep on top of things in here. It's been pretty easy, the weeding in the middle. It's just those edges. Does anybody know why that happens? Because I'm sure we've made sure we took cardboard out to the edge. Anyway, that's frustrating. The other thing that I've got in here are the 4 rhubarb plants, which I'm not going to plant inside the fruit cage, because they'll get quite big. Well, hopefully they'll get quite big, and they're not really bothered by birds and other pests. So what I think I'm going to do is plant them on the outer edge. I've got 4 of them, the outer corner of each 4 corners of the fruit cage. So they're up near the fruit cage, it's a sensible place to have them, but they can be on the field rather than in the fruit cage, because that's just a bit of a waste of valuable fruit cage space. But I'm not going to plant those out today, and I'm not going to plant them out until we've got the rabbit fencing sorted, because I have a feeling that if I planted those out in the field before we've got that rabbit fencing up, then Mama Bunny will think that's an invitation to make some rhubarb crumble for her babies. So they're going to stay in here in their pots, safe. They've got plenty of space in those pots until we're ready to plant those crowns out once the rabbit fencing has gone in, which is hopefully going to happen next week. So I've given the 3 blueberries their ericaceous feed, and everything else I've given a really good drink. Because I had the water up here, we ran the hose all the way up from the house, and whilst I had it up here I thought I would give everything else a lovely big drink, because it has been pretty dry for the last few weeks. Now generally I am quite a hard taskmaster with plants when it comes to water. I tend not to water them a great deal unless it is absolutely desperate, and the ground here, where it was so sodden for such a long time, is still holding quite a lot of moisture. So I could have got away with not watering, I think, but whilst the water was here I thought I may as well use it and give all those trees, particularly as they're new, in a nice long drink. So that's work on the fruit cage finished for today. On to the next thing.